stakeholders in the fight against child marriage have commended the Multimedia Group for its impactful reportage of the phenomenon in the Ashanti region. At least 10 juveniles who were married off to men 3 times their age were saved through a collaboration between the Police Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit, DOFSU, the traumatized victims, some of whom considered suicide to end their pains, were featured in the Joy News Hotline documentary Child Bride, put together by Multimedia. The stakeholders, including UNICEF, DOFSU, and the Psychiatric Association of Ghana, say such initiatives go a long way towards improving the situation of the vulnerable in society. Multimedia has the rest of the story.
She was married off to a man in a country she doesn't know.
Ghana is home to over 2 million child brides. That is according to UNICEF. The Child Bride project did not only investigate and rescue victims, but also ensured victims enrolled in school, while recalcitrant parents and relatives were prosecuted.
You've taken the lead, and let me congratulate you for taking the lead and for showing concern that yes, it's something that is dear to your heart. You recognize the problem and that you believe that you also need to do your part. I will request other media houses to do the same.
Ashanti Regional DOFSU Commander Superintendent Susanna Derry described the Multimedia Group's intervention as life-saving.
Multimedia, when they were involved in this, through their effort, we have gotten admission for some of the girls, and I'm specifically happy for this girl who was taken outside Ghana and she escaped, because she had then completed BEC and she was to go to SS and they took her away. You see, admissions and all that was almost done, but the Multimedia was able to get, with their maybe networking, they were able to get a school, rescues that are done in the night. We cannot get social welfare to permit us to get to the shelter and all that. They are able to see some hoteliers who will offer to keep such victims.
UNICEF warns Ghana risk missing out on meeting the Sustainable Development Goal 5 of eliminating all harmful practices such as child, early and forced marriage by 2030. Joyce Odame is the Child Protection Officer at UNICEF, an international organization working in more than 190 countries to reach out to most disadvantaged children. She is enthused by the role played by the Multimedia Group in reaching out to disadvantaged children.
I must commend Multimedia for demonstrating this kind of interest and commitment to this issue that is plaguing our country. Definitely, the government alone cannot, do it.
For the president of the Psychiatric Association of Ghana, the energy level of the Multimedia Group amazes her. Dr. Ruth Oswemji wants more of such initiatives from MGL.
I say a big kudos to Multimedia. You do all. And when people sit somewhere, they may not even think about an issue like this. And sometimes I get amazed that people who are lay in terms of lay in the mental health sector would think deep about issues pertaining to mental health. It amazes me and actually impresses me, and it is a good work Multimedia is doing.
The 2-part Child Bride documentary has increased discussion on the issue, with a call from victims for more action to end the practice. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Multimedia reporting.
Well, so let's stay on this for quite some time. Joining us via Zoom is Anthony Bediako Boateng, and he's the organizational. His organization actually supported in the prosecution of some recalcitrant parents by providing transportation to under-resourced DOFSU unit of the Ghana Police Service, among others. So let's try and understand what's happening in the area and also why he's embarking on that project. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. So, looking at what's happening in the Ashanti region, are you poised to continue with your campaign?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yes, we are poised as an NGO. Actually, the name of our NGO is Abuse Relief Corps, and that we provide support to victims of sexual abuse and abuse in general. And the incidence of child marriage is especially on the rise in Ashanti region, in particular areas, around Sokoremampong and some of these areas. And it's something that as an NGO, though we look mainly to sexual abuse, issues of child marriage is also something that is very dear to our hearts, and we're committed for the long haul to assist with such cases.
What are your findings telling you about how bad the situation is in the Ashanti region?
So generally, we know that the reported figures are not the exact ones, but then we can understand that 1 out of 5 children, in certain areas are likely to face this issue of child marriage. So that it means that for every 5 girls that you meet, 1 of them is likely to be sent off as a child bride. And in the long term, we can see that and the quantum of girls who are going to be denied education, who in the long term are also going to become a burden onto the husband, the society, and the nation as a whole.
What's the next line of action for your relief corps?
So we believe that we'll continue with the education, because education is very paramount, partnering with multimedia as we're doing now. And I think since the documentary aired, that discussion has indeed increased, and a lot of people are becoming more aware of these issues. So education is really the way to go, and then partnering with stakeholders, like DOFSU, with social welfare and all the other institutions to take the necessary steps. So intensify the education and also ensure that, reported cases or perpetrators that are arrested face prosecution, and it serves as a big deterrent to others.
Anthony, grateful that you've been able to join us. Ohiming Teria, who is at the center of this innovative piece, is also here with us. Ohiming, so here we are, we're understanding that the Relief Corps is intending to scale up its efforts. What more findings have you been making after this documentary?
Thank you. The issue of child marriage is very prevalent in the Ashanti region, especially in Kumasi and Sokoremampong municipal areas. One would have thought that in the eve of government introducing free senior high school and encouraging more children to go to school, the issue of child marriage wouldn't have cropped up in the region. But indeed, it is happening. Not in any other remote area in the region, but in the Kumasi metropolitan area, as well as Sokoremampong municipal and other cosmopolitan areas within the Ashanti region. It's an issue that affects many minors because minors are not given the opportunity to decide on their future. What it means is that a child could return from school, and in the next minute or two, the parents will tell this particular minor that you've been given, your hand into marriage. So what you need to do is to prepare for this journey. It comes as shock, and in most instances, the victims are traumatized. There are many instances where the victims choose their education over such a relationship, but they don't have that opportunity to decide. And at the end of the day, they are told that disobeying your parents is something that is against the will of God. So they are coerced and they are forced to live to the words and the demands of their parents or relatives. So in Kumasi and Sokoremampong, I must say, is very prevalent, but a lot goes into investigating and also rescuing these minors who, over time, with this project, we managed to rescue 10 of them, some as young as 10 years, and then the oldest being 15 years in that regard.
And I must congratulate you for the work that you've done, but I'm sure that that's not the end of the story. Even some of the victims, as we understand, you're still monitoring their activities as well. What do you gather about their state of mind and how, for instance, DOFSU is liaising with parents to support them?
Yes, sir. With the support of DOFSU, we targeted the minors, investigated them, and investigations into this practice is a Herculean task, I must admit. Sometimes one child, rescuing one child could take about a month or 2 or 3 because you need to monitor the situation. And because police needed evidence to support whatever investigations and prosecutions that they wanted to embark on, we needed to establish the fact. For instance, as when the child is being married or when the marriage ceremony is going on, that is when police, investigators will come and then do the rescue exercise. Beyond that, it's not just a matter of rescuing them. We've went a step further by enrolling the victims, some who were in JHS and others who were about to enter senior high school in schools, and provided them with their basic needs. So, for instance, at the time that even SHS admission had closed, we worked, in collaboration with the Free Senior High School Secretariat, who supported us in this project. So, all the victims, those who were to be admitted into senior high school, were admitted, and we provided them their personal belongings that will aid their education. And then they are continuing with their education. The good news is that most of the recalcitrant parents were also convicted. Some were convicted 24 months and others 12 months. So the court also ordered that with the support of DOFSU, anytime any of these victims leave school, provided, for instance, if they are on vacation, then it is DOFSU officials or the DOFSU commander who will go to the school, pick them and send them to their homes. And there are others who are still doing well in shelters provided by the Social Welfare Department. So it's been a Herculean project, a task of rescuing and also bringing life to these victims who are mostly traumatized. There are instances, some of them were sent to countries outside Ghana and married off to men who were 3 times their age. Some managed to escape, and when they even got back to Ghana, their relatives were still planning to send them back after enduring sexual abuses and all that. So you can imagine the kind of trauma, the kind of molestation these minors have gone through, all in the name of child marriage.
Ohimini Teria, thank you for joining us on The Pulse.